Look, I've had enough of you, Mr. Carney. Every day you're saying it's a rupture. You're calling me horrible. You're saying you want to do things with everybody else. Go off and do them then. Let's just call the whole thing off.
There is something weird about Mark Carney's wife. I don't know if you've noticed this too, but I decided to do some digging into it because it was just kind of odd. Turns out, yep, indeed, it is incredibly abnormal. Can't wait to share that with you. Also, Canada's economy is apparently booming, the best it's ever been, according to the guy who hasn't bought groceries in, 15 years? Probably longer, actually. I'm Jasmine Lane. Subscribe, like, follow, and comment your thoughts down below. As always, share this video. And Trump and Mark Carney met today in what surely is going to be so entertaining to watch how they spin that on CBC News later tonight. It was also filled with what had to be really humiliating for the liberal base who still believes all of the lies that their party tries to sell them, which of course we will be fact checking.
Fantastic. Excellent.
I have no idea, but I'm very excited to learn how the mainstream media is going to try to spin their way out of the fact that Donald Trump at the FIFA World Cup, he was awarded their very first ever FIFA Peace Prize, something new that they're doing. And they gave it to Donald Trump, you know, that crazy fascist who's like a total authoritarian and stuff. And like, you know, democracy's really bad in the United States of America.
On behalf of the billions of football-loving people from around the world, to a distinguished individual who exemplifies an unwavering commitment to advancing peace and unity throughout the world through their notable leadership and action. And therefore, FIFA, the Fédération Internationale de Football Association, awards the 2025 FIFA Peace Prize, Football Unites the World, to Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, in recognition of his exceptional and extraordinary actions to promote peace and unity around the world.
That's the really big difference between America and Donald Trump in particular. Actually, I shouldn't say America as a whole because the Biden administration was very different. But Donald Trump wants to end wars. He doesn't want to endlessly fund them like other nations do. I mean, Canada just committed even more money to Ukraine despite the terrible optics about corruption coming out. That right there is the fundamental difference between woke, leftist, far left ideology, which survives on validation. Like, you want to look good. You don't care what the outcome is. You want to have the quickest, easiest, simplest way to actually look good. You don't want to put in any of the work. So I'm going to change my profile picture on Facebook because that's doing so much. And, oh yeah, we're going to give $400 million to this war so that they can like keep fighting it and stuff because they deserve sovereignty. So we're just going to keep funding the death and destruction instead of actually coming to the table and saying, how do we end this? And that's what Donald Trump did. He completely shattered the way that so many nations have been doing things forever because they've been captured by this ideological validation cycle that produces zero results. It has nothing to show for it except for headlines. And honestly, the fact that Donald Trump gets that award at FIFA in front of all of these other world leaders, like, it is a huge freaking event. And he's the one who gets that. If I was a liberal watching that, the only thing I would be thinking to myself is, wow, I got to start listening to independent content because my mainstream media is failing me. Clearly, I am not being told the whole story here.
100% trade is going to be talked about, and you can expect when he's with the Mexican president and the Canadian prime minister, maybe out of view of the cameras, they're going to have some conversations because we know they've had those difficult trade conversations in the past. There have been some tense moments with them before, trading of different tariffs, different trade policies. But yes, they're all going to be in the same room today. Today's supposed to be more of a lighthearted event, obviously because of FIFA, but they will be talking. Obviously, when they're all in a room here together, trade is going to come up. And to your point, Harris, there is a lot of money at stake here, and all these countries want in on it. Everybody wants everything to go very smoothly.
Now, there's been a lot of noise, a lot of talk, a lot of rumors that Donald Trump is going to totally pull out of the USMCA. And, you know, maybe there's some validity to that. Who knows? We don't know. We'll find out, I suppose. But at the end of the day, I think that also just really lends credit to the narrative of Donald Trump is so unpredictable and evil and bad. Oh, scary orange man. He's threatening to pull out of the USMCA. And I mean, to be honest with you, as this person said on CBC News, if he were to, could you blame him after all of this BS that's been going around mainstream media for literally years?
I can see Trump doing that. And if you don't agree to a 16-year extension, then it spills forward into a series of annual reviews. And you see, I think that's the sort of thing Trump would like, which is let's keep this going. Every year we'll come back and have a conversation. And I hate to say it, but that's almost the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is where he says, look, I've had enough of you, Mr. Carney. Every day you're saying it's a rupture. You're calling me horrible. You're saying you want to do things with everybody else. Go off and do them then. Let's just call the whole thing off. And that's why I think I have to watch a little bit how we react in Canada to this, because whether we like it or not, I mean, I think every time we say these things about, we're going off to do things with Europe, we're going to get out, we're rupturing with the United States, there's no going back. At some point, does Trump say, okay, no going back? Okay, here's your termination letter. See if you like it.
Well, look, he's certainly great for your business because every day there's a new storyline of here and there. My secret to all of this has been talk to the people who know the president, as I've been able to do, who say, look, a lot of that is just posturing. There's a lot of noise. It's negotiation tactic. It's the art of the deal, so to speak. He calls everything a deal, and it's all transactional, and it's all about extracting a win for him in America and less for others. The reality is all trade agreements are a negotiation. This one is a review and renewal of an agreement that was just negotiated a matter of 5 years ago or so. We're in a place now where we're able to say to the administration, let's take stock. Let's do exactly what you fought for, which is this review and renewal clause. Let's figure out how to make this deal even better. And I do believe very strongly that if we separate the noise from what's actually happening, why am I here? I'm here because the government of the United States of America, not Canada, not Mexico, they are running their own review and renewal process that lasts for 270 days. Today, Canadian goods, in Canada's trade agreement with the United States, is what's saving our own economy.
Every dollar we spend either reinforces a problem or supports something good. And your Daily Fix coffee is firmly on the good side. Ethically sourced beans, fair trade options, Canadian roasting, sustainable packaging, plus part of every purchase goes to community charities and veteran initiatives. When you pour a cup, you're supporting a responsible Canadian business and giving back. Today, I'm drinking Mindful. It's basically a brain upgrade in a cup. Dark roasted Sumatra mixed with lion's mane mushroom and L-theanine. The Sumatra gives you that bold flavor. The lion's mane adds earthy balance and supports focus and memory. And L-theanine keeps you calm and clear instead of wired. It tastes incredible and the benefits are real. This blend sells out all the time because people try it and they get hooked. It comes ground and ready to brew, so everything is super easy. Go to yourdailyfixcoffee.com/Jasmine and you can use the code Jasmine to save 10% on your order.
Because the president decided he's going to create an exemption for all CUSMA compliant goods into Canada and obviously the TMEC goods into Mexico. So that suggests to me that there's a belief in the deal, that there's a belief that this is important to the economy, not just Canada and Mexico, of America and North America together. So sure, there's a lot of noise about what could be possible. As I joked, it's also possible the Toronto Maple Leafs may win the Stanley Cup. It doesn't mean they will.
They will,
but our job
Goldie,
is to stay focused.
And just to show you the lack of self-awareness so many people have, there has been a lot of commentary from Goldie's statements because he gave another interview earlier that day where, as he referenced there, he said something to the effect of like, could it happen? Could Trump pull out of USMCA? Yeah, anything's possible. Just like the Leafs winning a cup, like just this funny, dumb little thing. And people are outraged. They're like, oh, see, the U.S. is our enemy. They're mocking it. The USMCA is the backbone of Canada's economy. How could you joke about that? And I just think to myself every single time I hear stuff like that, I'm like, bro, do you not realize the damage that you do? Not you being Wealth Moose on X. I actually tend to enjoy the vast majority of content that this account shares. I don't know who runs it, but just in general, when it comes to mainstream media, every time that there's a new article, smack talking Trump, calling him a fascist, calling him a dictator. Oh my gosh, American authoritarianism. There is so much damage being done. because it benefits people for clicks and they're not seeing the full picture. And it is just unfathomable. America is our biggest trading partner. They are our number one ally. We are in a position in Canada that other nations would literally kill to be in. And we just don't care. We're so petty. We don't care. Oh, wow. Well, Jasmine, you have to stand up to a bully. I'm pretty sure you're being more of a bully, actually, Canada. Just going to throw that out there. You ran an entire election campaign mischaracterizing, manipulating, lying about who Donald Trump is. Our mainstream media probably makes the most revenue from posting about America. That sounds pretty bully-like to me. In fact, Donald Trump has always spoken incredibly high of Canada, Canadian people as a whole. He's had some sharp words for politicians, fair enough. And he's also had some sharp words for how he feels things are economically between our nations. Fair enough. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like him. But my Lord, can we just grow up already and stop thinking that there's zero consequences to our actions? And also stop focusing on America. Canada's in the position that it is because of Canadian policies and regulation and high taxes. That's why we're here. That's why. And you know what? Does it suck? Does it feel kind of emasculating to be a country with such weak force in comparison where it matters as much as it does? Yeah, it does. That does suck. So why did you vote in a government who's just going to continue that? What sense did that make? You mean to tell me that you felt so threatened by 51st state annexation that you voted in the exact same government who gave him that idea and the exact same government whose policies are absolutely destroying us from the inside out, and you have the audacity to try to blame Donald Trump? Get real.
Mr. Speaker, let's get our numbers straight. The Canadian economy is the strongest growing economy in the G7, 2.6% annualized. Canadian wages are growing faster than inflation. For every month that this government has been in office, 3.2%, over 2.2%. Unemployment is down, wages are up, the land is strong, we're moving forward.
As you walk down the grocery aisle, watching the prices rise before your eyes, know that the Prime Minister, who stashes his cash in a tax haven, says that you've never had it so good. You, the Canadian people who have seen your grocery bills literally double under this government, from $8,300 to $16,800 in a decade.
Shameful.
Tomorrow, we will find out in the Canada Food Price Report how much groceries will cost an average family next year. Given the Prime Minister has promised to be judged on the price of groceries, will he tell Canadian families how much they'll have to pay to survive?
This government is happy to tell Canadian families as we cut their taxes for 22 million Canadians. We cut the taxes on first-time home buyers. And we are investing. We are investing a budget which the leader of the opposition and the members opposite voted against. A budget that is going to cause $1 trillion of investment in this country over the next 5 years, grow jobs, grow futures for Canada. We believe in Canada. Come join us.
And while, yes, there has been some marginal increases in some areas, I mean, let's say, Mark Carney, all of his claims there about how amazing the economy is, recent job gains, and a dip in unemployment rate. Yep, okay, that's true. That is true. Yeah, the unemployment rate dropped to 6.5%. Down from 6.9%. That's a good thing. And our GDP growth has increased a little bit in the second quarter, which is what he used for the fastest growing in the G7. And to that I say, yeah, when you're dead last, there's nowhere to go but up. But those numbers are ridiculously misleading when you actually pick them apart. The November employment gains, as an example, were heavily concentrated in part-time work. P.S. It's the holiday season. There's a lot of part-time jobs right now. The core-aged workforce saw little change. Most gains came from youth 15 to 24. So again, part-time mall jobs, things like that in the service sector. Oh shoot, just kidding. I have to fact check myself because it turns out that key sectors, including wholesale, retail, and trade-sensitive manufacturing jobs were lost. They lost jobs. And that part is actually really sad because those industries, those sectors are usually a pretty good idea to determine the health of consumer demand as well as a manufacturing base of any kind. So the fact that there's a jobs boom around the holidays for low-hour, part-time work, temporary gigs for youth, it's great for those people who have those jobs, absolutely. But to try to use that as a brag is really, really bizarre. It's also so very important to remember, we've talked about this a lot, that the most commonly cited growth metric from the Liberal Party doesn't account for the reality that most of our growth is driven by population. It's not driven by productivity, innovation, competitiveness, things that signal strong domestic industries. It's driven by an increase in population. They have been doing this, the Liberals have for years. Why do you think they wanted so desperately to bring in so many people into the country? It temporarily spikes those numbers. The long-term impact is absolutely disastrous. We see that all the time. And I will actually be doing a bigger deep dive on that soon. You know, technically it's true that we're the fastest growing economy in the G7, but it's actually irrelevant when what matters most is individual prosperity and what that's actually doing to your nation. Additionally, price inflation on food, on housing, on energy is erasing all of the wage gains there because it's not keeping up at all. The cost of essentials have outpaced growth dramatically. And it's about time that we stop being dishonest about that and trying to tell people who are struggling to pay their bills and feed themselves and keep their jobs that, oh no, but the economy's doing great though, because it's not. It's not. When you cherry pick things, you miss all of those key data points, and you cannot claim that Canada is doing well when you are intentionally omitting the other half of the story to pick the part that makes good headlines.
We want to mix from different continents, different styles of play. We've got a club that's got a great attacking style, as you know.
Great headlines, photo ops, all of that stuff. Well, something about this one just feels really weird to me, and I've been noticing it a lot lately. The fact that Mark Carney's wife is completely absent from Canadian public life. Yet she is seen at World Economic Forum events. She is seen at UN gatherings, speaking even. She's always at foreign policy forums. She travels with Mark Carney every single time he goes abroad to do business for Canada. She's visibly there when he is performing on the world stage, but she is completely absent with any public-facing role in Canada, no Canadian media appearances, no major interviews, and no presence in the daily political footprint of what you would expect for a prime minister's spouse. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and it's objectively very unusual. The fact, too, that she has spoken at the United Nations with Mark Carney while he's been prime minister is really, really weird. That's really weird and extremely rare. And it's also genuinely unclear if she even lives in Canada all the time. Like her residency, her work, her public engagements all appear to be outside of the country. And the only time we ever see her is outside of the country. There's been the odd thing that she'll be present at, like a Remembrance Day ceremony. But the thing about this to me, where it's not about gossip, this isn't about their personal lives. It's more so about public power, because Mark Carney's wife has been very much involved in shaping policy in Canada as far back on paper that I could find 2013. She appeared in media and stuff back then. And a spouse who only appears in international context, but never in domestic political life, that's a really weird influence profile, isn't it? That's really strange. Really, really strange. There's no public accountability or scrutiny, despite the fact that herself and the businesses, companies that she is involved in plays a role in climate policy and global financial frameworks, in Canada's position on ESG, in international negotiations about these things. But Canadians have zero visibility into it. Like, she is just this shadow operator. And also the fact that Canadians have no idea where she lives, works, or what role she plays at all. We know that there is one because it was public before he was prime minister, and now it's totally silent. but we only ever see her on the world stage. That's really not normal for a G7 leader's spouse. And I also think that Carney's entire political identity it's globalist, it's technocratic, transnational, elite institution oriented. And the fact that his wife appears and exists only in that world really does just reinforce the perception that Carney is not governing for us. His wife isn't even here. She's not a part of our country at all, and she's the prime minister's wife. It's just something about this optically, at the very least. I'm not insinuating that there's any malintent, but I also wouldn't be willing to give benefit of the doubt that maybe she's just a really private person. Because you clearly are not. You are up there on the global stage actively influencing policy all the time. She's been doing that as a career, as her profession for many, many years. So the optics here just feel really, really weird. And I do think that it raises a legitimate question, which is, who is this government actually showing up for? And also, I'm just going to throw it out there because I'm being a little nosy now, but where the hell does this girl live, honestly? Is she actually living in Ottawa with Mark Carney? Actually, I don't know about that one. Like, the fact that most Canadians have never seen Mark Carney's wife, but the UN has, that's just really odd. That's really odd. And I'm going to be a little bit nosy. I want to know where she lives. Where does she live? Is she even in this country? Is she in this country at least 5 days a week? Because their daughter is going to school in the United States. So fair enough. If you want to go visit your daughter on weekends, fine. I hope you're not expensing taxpayers for that flight, but fine. But like, does she at least live here 5 days a week? Is her legal permanent address in Canada? I just have so many questions about this, and it just feels like secret society stuff. Now I'm getting a little gossipy. Anyway, I'm Jasmine Lane. Thank you so much for watching. Speaking of secret society stuff, I do have an interview with Desiree Fixler, who is a former WEF and ESG DEI whistleblower. She's joining us for round 2, and that episode is going to be premiering on Tuesday of next week. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I will talk to you very soon. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment your thoughts down below. And if anybody has seen Diana Fox Carney in the wild, going for a run, maybe in Ottawa, I don't know. I'm nosy now.